My name is John. I'm a small unmanned aircraft operator. I made a video about the New Jersey drones and you guys had statements or comments or questions. I'm going to answer them right now. I've been flying RC airplanes for many years, never got into helios or quads. Unfortunately, I see number 4 as the most logical choice. I do too, and I hope that I'm completely wrong. I hope it isn't bad people threatening to do bad things. With DJI, they had a proof of concept where they could detect drones with an app. Look, there's a bunch of different apps that you can use to detect drones that have remote ID. It's not just a DJI thing, they're all over the place, and you can download one right now. The problem is that the drone has to have remote ID in order for you to detect it. And generally, if it's going to be an enemy, it's not going to have remote ID. If it's an older drone, it's not going to have remote ID. So you're counting on the person having remote ID in order to be able to detect the drone. First, you need a haircut. Mom? This is no mystery. The issue is a hysterical public. The videos have all been commercial and general aviation aircraft. There's a certain amount of truth to that, and there isn't. I feel like the original aircraft that were spotted were drones, but now anyone who's seen anything in the air is legitimately calling it a drone. There are videos being posted by major news organizations where you can see the outline of the plane, where you can see the landing lights of the plane, and the legitimate news organization is calling it a drone. It's crazy. Hello, I'm also a UAS certified pilot. I just want to thank you for being a voice of reason. I'm trying to be a voice of reason right now, but it's really hard because there are people all over the world that see two lights in the air and go, drone! Not everything is a drone. There are actual aircraft, tens of thousands of them in the airspace above our country all the time. I observed two hovering in place for 4 hours. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Nobody sits there for 4 hours and observes anything. We go to see a baseball game and we're not paying attention to a baseball game the entire time. There's no way you sat there and watched drones for 4 hours. Something is off about these so-called drones. They give off no heat signature. Well, first of all, that's not exactly true. People are saying that they're not giving off a heat signature, but there aren't that many people running around with sophisticated IR video equipment that have been able to justify saying that. The second problem with that is it's an electric drone. Or if it's an electric drone, it's not going to have a big heat signature because it has no combustible engine in it. Most drones have electric motors in it. In fact, most drones have 4 electric motors in it. It's difficult to get any kind of a heat signature off of a quadcopter because it has 4 high-speed fans that are constantly blowing heat off of it. Think how easy it's been to invade our airspace. Well, it's always been easy to invade our airspace. All you have to do is go back to September 11th and you realize it's been an easy thing. It is a big deal that it's been a long time since 9/11 and we haven't done anything significant in order to stop that from happening. Surveillance does not occur at night. Dude, your theories are all wet. Just try to bring them down. It's impossible. Not even government can bring them down because of interdimensional entities mimicking drones, soft disclosure. There's too many people calling these alien creatures. And the biggest issue with that is they happen to look like our own drones. They even use the same kind of landing lights that our drones have. I'm just going to throw it out there. If an alien being is going to travel tens of hundreds of light years in order to visit us, chances are they're not going to have the exact same color of landing lights that we have. They sound like they have a miniature jet engine running. If that's the case, they could be very large. They could also be civilian aircraft. The news is constantly showing videos where you can see the outline of the plane. It's the US government, nothing more obvious. FBI said, we don't know what it is, but it's not a concern. Well, yeah, the FBI is going to say that if they don't want to admit that bad things are happening, if another country or another entity is threatening to do bad things. Go figure, the FBI has not been forthright a lot of the times. My man, this is not teenage kids operating over military installations all over the world. Guess what? It's not happening over military installations all over the world. There are people that are spreading that rumor, but if you noticed, military officials, government officials haven't said that. It's always some third-party person. Don't believe anonymous sources in journalism. They are horribly wrong most of the time. Good to have your knowledge. Why doesn't the FAA ground all drones there at night? Well, the problem is, well, first of all, I know you think that that's going to do a lot of good. It won't. The logic is that you can just shoot down anything you see in the air. First of all, for the love of God, if you're someone considering that, don't freaking do that. Don't. You're going to shoot down the wrong thing. I guarantee you. Secondly, it's not that easy. Anything that you shoot down is going to come down. And guess what? The US isn't ready for some 50 or 80-pound object to come screaming down on top of someone. So what should you do if you see one? Well, first of all, log it. And I don't just mean write down, I saw a drone. Pay attention to which direction it is. Is it straight up north? Is it 30 degrees from north? Is it 180 degrees from north, otherwise known as south? If it moves, where from to where to and at what time? The more information that you have about the location, the more they can figure out, was it a plane? Was it a drone? 2, I already said this, but for the love of God, don't put any projectile up in the area of something that you think might be airborne. That's a bad idea. What could you do? Well, first of all, check out to see whether or not this is legal in your state, because I know it's not legal in California and it's not legal in Colorado. But you could actually just point a flashlight up. If you pointed enough flashlights up, and I mean straight up towards the object, you might be able to light it up even if it turns off its landing lights. And you could track it for a little while. Photograph it. Not with your crappy cell phone, but with an actual camera. Put a decent lens on your camera and photograph through the camera. Your cell phone, when you zoom in, it just adds pixels. That's all it does. That's the reason why it looks blocky and horrific. If you do decide to point a light like a spotlight up in the air, awesome, as long as it's legal in your area. Don't point a laser light, and only if you're right underneath it. You don't want to blind a pilot. If you're underneath 99% of aircraft and you point a light at it, it's not going to harm the pilot. Under no circumstances should you ever point a laser at any airborne object, or anyone for that matter. I'm a photographer. I don't want my eyes blinded. I don't want anyone else's eyes blinded. A flashlight might annoy a pilot, but it's not going to blind them. Now I know what you're saying. Point a flashlight, what's that going to do? One flashlight? Nothing. One spotlight? Nothing. Several spotlights? Now you're going to start to light up the object enough where you can see it. Again, make sure it's legal in your area. It's not in Colorado and it's not in California. It's just Santa Claus and his helpers getting an early start. You know what? Now that I think of it, this is the most logical explanation. Thanks. My name is John. I'm a small unmanned aircraft pilot. Watch more of my videos, or just come back and watch the next video. Please like, subscribe, and thanks for tuning in.